Dear students, dear colleagues, good afternoon. Welcome to our exam seminar part 2 for today, in which we are going to discuss the last 6 units in your book. Well, dear students, at the beginning of this seminar, let me introduce my colleagues in the studio who are going to participate in this seminar. Ms. Majid Al-Rifai, an English supervisor from Kunitra Directorate. Good afternoon, Ms. Majid.
Good afternoon.
And Ms. Wala Safir, an English supervisor from Damascus Countryside Directorate. Good afternoon, Ms. Wala. Well, dear students, dear colleagues, as you know, this is our last exam seminar of English. Of course, we are going to discuss, as I said before, the last 6 units in your book for both, let's say, scientific section and literary section. We can discuss the grammatical skills in the last 6 units, as well as the pronunciation and everyday English. Well, let me start with Miss Majid. Of course, as you know, dear students, in Unit 7, when we talk about grammar, of course, we have the conditionals. I'd like to ask you, Ms. Majid, to give an idea, of course, in details about the condition, everything about the conditionals in the baccalaureate's book, please.
Okay, first of all, we're going to start to talk about the conditionals. That means the if sentence. And here we have some examples. We would like to read them. And after that, we're going to talk about each type of them. For the conversation we have, I'm going to read.
Yes,
Sorry.
we have a conversation here before you start, of course. Yes.
Sorry for coming late. If you come late again, I will punish you. This is the first sentence. Now, I'm sorry, but I don't know what I can do. If I were you, I would wake up early. Yes, if I had woken up early, I would have come on time.
Good.
Here we have examples of the conditional sentence, and we put them in a conversation. And now we are going to talk about the first conditional sentence.
Okay.
We use the first conditional to talk about possible situations and their consequences in the future. An example: if you come late, I will punish you. And we can also use it in a different way and say, I will punish you if you come late. Here we use the present simple tense with the if part sentence, and we use in the second part the future simple using will plus the verb in the zero form.
Yes. Okay, this is the structure of the first conditional. So you said we use the first conditional to talk about possible situations and their consequences in the future. So we are talking here about the future, not about the present, not about the past. Good. Now, what about the second conditional?
Yeah, the second conditional. First of all, we have an example sentence. If I were you, I would wake up early. The second conditional follows the pattern if plus past simple and with the plus the base form of the verb. In the second conditional, it is common to use were for all subjects. Like in this example, we have if we invert between the clauses, I would wake up early if I were you. It is possible to switch the order of the clauses. If you begin your sentence with the if clause, you must put a comma after it, and the meaning
you mean we
same.
can start with the if clause and we can start with the result clause or the main clause. When we start with the if clause, we must use a comma. When we start with the result clause or the main clause, so if here is considered as a connecting word, we don't use a comma. That's it. Thank you very much. Of course, when we talk about the second conditionals, Miss Wala, we said that we can use the second conditionals to give advice. For example, if I were you, I would apologize to my teacher. If I were you, I would have so and so, I would do so and so, etc. If I were you, the example here, I would apologize to someone to express present or future situations that are, as you said, unreal. If I won the lottery, I would buy a new house. If I had enough money, I would buy, for example, a laptop, a new laptop, for
It's
example.
unlikely
So,
action.
but I don't. So
Yeah.
it is something imaginary, not real. So we call this past simple and real past because it is an imaginary situation. Now, Miss Majid, thank you very much, Miss Wala. We can talk about the third conditionals. What about the third conditionals now?
For the third conditional sentence, we would like to talk why do we use them. We use the third conditional to express situations that are impossible to change because they are in the past. Example, if I had woken up early, I would have come on time. Or we can say it, I would have come on time if I had woken up early. And here we use the past perfect in the part of the if sentence, and we use would plus have plus the verb in the past participle of the verb in the second part of the sentence.
So here you're talking, or we're talking about something that happened. It happened before now, so we cannot change it. But now we are trying to imagine the opposite of what happened. Okay? If I would have come, if I had woken up early, I would have come on time. It means that
So
I
I didn't
didn't
wake.
wake up
I
early,
didn't
so I didn't come on
And
time.
I can't change that.
Exactly.
It's
So we can't
impossible.
change it. That's why we call this situation impossible situation. We can't go back on time, of course. So that's everything about the three types, or the main three types of conditionals. Of course, dear students, that you should know that we have four types of conditionals: the zero conditionals, the first conditionals, the second conditionals, and the third conditionals. Of course, here we're trying to focus on the three main types of conditionals. Now we can talk about something else, which is an exercise, I think. Miss Wala, please.
Yeah, we have an exercise. We have to choose the correct answer. The first one, you left into town if I finish my work in time. We have four choices: give, gave, will give, and would give.
The laptop, I think, is not ready. Thank you very much. Now,
Yeah, this sentence is in the present, in the future condition, the first future conditional, which is used to express a possible future outcome. The correct answer is C, since we have verb 1 in
Yes.
the if clause.
yes.
The
that's
second one, the poor man, his house if the officials hadn't stopped him. We have built, could have built, could build, and can build. This sentence is in the second conditional. It is in the third conditional, sorry. We have past participle, hadn't plus verb 3. So the correct answer is B, could have built.
Could have built, yes.
Yeah, the last one, if I enough money, I would buy a car. We have had, or had had. It is in the second conditional. We're talking here about unlikely action in the past. The correct answer is B.
Thank
If I
you.
had enough money, I would buy a car.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we continue to something else. Unit 8, Miss Majid. In Unit 8, we have, let's say, wish statements, or how to express wish in English. The floor is yours.
Expressing a wish. We express. Why do we use wish in the sentence? We use it to express a wish in the present, or in the future we use the past simple. The form of wish we use if only, I wish, plus the simple past.
Let's read first, Miss Majid, the examples. We have examples. Let's try to give the students some examples and try to ask them to imagine the situation.
Okay.
Then we can talk about the uses or the different situations. Please.
We have three examples. I wish I had more money. I wish I hadn't cried so much. I wish you wouldn't arrive so late all the time.
So here when we say I wish I had more money, it means that
This means
the
that
person didn't have enough money,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
A
What
person
about
has-
the second example? I wish I hadn't cried so much.
A person has had a habit of crying.
Yes, the action took place in the past. Now a person feels sorry about that. A person has a bad habit of crying, as you said. And what about the
third
last example?
I wish you wouldn't arrive so late all the time. This means that I am annoyed because you are always come late and I want you to arrive on time.
Good. So here, dear students, in these three, let's say, situations or examples, we're trying, let's say, to convey the meaning or the purpose or the target of using wish. Why do we wish? We wish because we don't like, for example, a situation and would like to change it for better. That's why we wish. Or sometimes to express regret or to complain about, let's say, a bad situation. We don't like something and we prefer to change this bad situation into something better or into something else different and good for us. So that's why we wish.
Or maybe you want to complain.
Right, right. You're right. Now, let's continue. Let's talk about the use, Miss Majid, please.
We use wish to express a wish in the present or in the future. When we use it like that, we use past simple.
Good.
The form, if only I wish, plus the simple past. I'm going to read the example. If only I knew how to use a computer. What do we mean by this sentence? I don't know how to use a computer and I would like to learn how to use it.
So it's the same when we say if only, it's the same as I wish. It's the same.
It's
If
the
only
same.
means I wish I knew how to use a computer.
And my wish may be in the present or maybe in the future.
Yes.
But we use the past simple tense.
Good. Thank you very much. Miss Wala, please.
Yeah,
What about expressing a regret?
Yeah, to express a regret about a past situation, we use past perfect. This pattern is used for imagining different outcomes if something had been different in the past. For example, the form of it, if only or I wish, plus past perfect. For example, if only I had woken up early, it means I didn't wake up early and I missed my bus. The speaker here is expressing a wish that if he had woken up early, he would have been able to catch the bus.
Good. So here when we want to express a regret about a past situation, we use
past
the
perfect.
past perfect. Thank you. I think it's very clear. What about complaining now?
We use wish to complain about a behavior that you disapprove, expressing impatience, annoyance, or dissatisfaction with a present action. For example, I wish you wouldn't arrive so late all the time. This means that I am annoyed because you always come late and I want you to arrive on time.
Good.
And the form of this type of wish, we use it with if only or I wish, plus would with the zero form of the verb.
So here the speaker is annoyed
Annoyed.
and trying to criticize someone's behavior.
Or
He doesn't
dissatisfied.
like this behavior and he wishes that this person can
Change his habit or
change it.
behavior.
That
for
means that I
a good
disapprove his
behavior.
behavior.
Yes, yes, yes. Good. Now I think we have an exercise. Yes, please, Miss Wala.
Yeah, we have to choose the correct form of the verb. The first sentence, I didn't go shopping last week. I wish shopping. We have 4 choices: went, would go, had gone, or go. In this sentence, we use the past perfect tense, had gone, to express a regret about a past action.
Yes,
So the correct answer is C, had
C.
gone.
that's
The
right.
second one, if only the children, their books on the floor, I am always falling over them. Here, in this sentence, we use, the correct answer is wouldn't leave. Here, we have a criticism of a behavior
Or
of
the speaker
of
is
ch-
complaining.
Or complaining.
Yes.
Approving their
Yeah.
behavior.
The speaker desires for the children to stop leaving their books on the floor in the present and avoid the speaker falling over them.
So
The correct answer is wouldn't leave.
A,
Yeah, it's A.
wouldn't leave. That's
The last
right.
one, our flat is rather small. I wish it a bit bigger. We have is, were, would be, had been. In this sentence, we use the correct answer is were to express a wish for a hypothetical situation. It means the flat being bigger is unreal or unlikely possibility, and the speaker wishes for it to be more bigger.
Good. Now we can move on to talk about unit 9, I think.
Yeah.
In Unit 9, dear students, as you know, we have the paired conjunctions in grammar. When we talk about grammar, we have the paired conjunctions. Miss Majid, please.
First of all, what are they? What are the paired conjunctions? They are not single words. They work in pairs. There are 4 paired conjunctions: both, and the second one either or, the third neither nor, not only but also.
Okay.
This-
Next one.
And for both, I'm going to have an example. Both my mother and my sister are here. Here we have 2 subjects connected by both and take a plural verb. We notice here that both and, this is the paired conjunction. We have it in the example, both my mother and my sister. And we notice that the verb that we use with this paired conjunction is a plural verb.
So here
are.
we use both and, as you said, to connect 2 subjects or 2 nouns, right? When we use them to connect 2 subjects, we use, as you said, a plural verb. This is the example about both and. Now we can talk about the other paired conjunctions, Miss Majid.
We have not only my mother, but also my sister is here. This is the first example. And here I would like to notice that we have to look at the verb after in each sentence, whether it's singular or plural. Not only my sister, but also my parents are here. Here we notice that we have 2 verbs, is and are. We use not only in the same sentences, but we have different subjects before the verb. In the first one, we have my sister, and it's a singular noun, so we use it. In the second sentence, my parents, which is near to the verb, so we use the plural verb because the noun is plural. Neither my mother nor my sister is here. Neither my sister nor my parents are here. This is the same, and the same case is applied for neither nor. So when 2 subjects are connected by not only but also, either or neither nor, the subject that is closer to the verb determines whether the verb is singular or plural. For not only but also, it is used for emphasis or to indicate surprise.
Good. So both and always take a plural verb. The other paired conjunctions, when we want to use the verb, it depends on the second subject. The second subject that is closer to the verb determines whether the verb is singular or plural. Thank you. Now, again, Miss Wala, please.
Yeah, we have to look here at the structure of the sentence. We have many examples. The first one, the research project will take both time and money. Here we have both and. It connects between 2 nouns. We have time and money. The second one, Sue saw not only a fox in the woods, but also a bear. Here also we have 2 noun phrases, not only connected between them. Number 3, I'll take either chemistry or physics next term. Also here we have 2 nouns, chemistry and physics. The last example, the book is neither interesting nor accurate. Here we have neither nor connects between 2 adjectives.
So here we're trying to say to our dear students that all these paired conjunctions are used or can be used to connect 2 subjects, or they can be used to connect 2 objects. So here they are used to connect objects, not subjects, right? So here the research project will take both time and money. So time and money. Time is object number 1, money object number 2. It's the same for a bear, a fox, chemistry, physics, and 2 adjectives here in the last example, interesting, accurate. So they should know, I mean the students, sorry, that these paired conjunctions are not only used to connect subjects, but they can be used to connect
They are not
objects
used
in
in
statements.
one structure,
Sentence.
maybe in more than one
Yes,
structure.
that's right.
So the same grammatical forms should be follow each part of the paired conjunctions. By keeping the same grammatical form for each part, the sentence becomes easier to read and understandable.
Thank you. I think an exercise now.
After all, we are going to choose the correct answer. Number 1, neither Brian nor Tom very
Considerate.
Are, were, is, have been. The correct answer is, because we have here neither nor and the subject.
The
which
second
is
one.
the subject which is closer to the verb. Tom is a singular one, so we choose is, a singular verb.
Good.
Number 2, either the teacher or the students are, has, is, have planned to come. Here we have also the subject students.
We
It is
take a plural verb.
plural one, so we choose the answer have, D.
Yes.
Number 3, not only my brother but also my sister is, have, are, has a decorate in science.
Doctorate
In science. Sorry. So the correct answer here, D, has, because my sister is a singular noun. And number 4, both the teacher and the student here, are here, have here, is here, has here. The correct answer are, because here we use both and we know that
Not only my brother, but also my sister has a doctorate in
yes, we have
science.
finished this,
Right?
and we move to number 4.
Yes.
And with number 4 we choose are, because we have both and.
Yes, you're right.
We choose A, are.
Yes, you're right. I was talking about number 3. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe because the sentence number 4 was not clear on the laptop. Thank you very much. Now, after this, in Unit 10, Miss Wala, we have in grammar some models. Of course, not all the models or not all the modal auxiliary verbs. We took some, let's say, of them. We discussed some of them that can be used to express obligation or lack of obligation. So we are talking about one skill, just one skill. So what are these verbs? The floor is yours, please.
Yeah, we have must, have to, should, don't have to, doesn't have to, shouldn't, and mustn't. Let's start with must. We use must for written rules and instructions. For example, passengers must fasten their seat belts. Here, the obligation is imposed by the airline who wrote the notice. Number 2, obligation, when we have obligation which comes from the speaker himself. For example, I haven't spoken to Sandra for ages, I must call her. In the example given, the speaker feels a personal obligation to call Sandra. And of course, we use the base form of the verb after it.
Okay. After this,
We have to and has to. Now let's talk about the use of have to and has to. We use them for obligation that comes from outside. It's not from inside. It's not yours. It's outside. The examples: we have to get up early tomorrow to catch the plane. What do we mean by this? The time of the plane is the reason for the obligation.
here I think some students get confused. Why when they use I mean must and have to. They don't know when to use must or when to use have to. Let's clarify them or simplify the situation. When, let's say, the decision is from the speaker himself, he can use must. For example, if someone calls me now, of course I am on air now, I can't leave the studio, but let's imagine that I am in a place somewhere sitting with you and someone calls me for an emergency, for example, or something urgent. I can say I must leave now, I'm sorry, okay, because I am, let's say, I have decided. I am the person who decides. So when you decide something, use must. When you want to, let's say, implement something or to do something, you can use have to. For example, I go to school every day. I am a student, and our principal at school, let's say, asked us to wear our, let's say, black shoes, for example, and he told us that you cannot come to school without your black shoes. So
It's obligatory.
I tell my parents I have to wear black shoes to school or to wear a uniform to school. I'm not the person who decides. I'm trying to do something else. So
It's outside our control.
it's outside of our control. That's right. So this is the difference between must and have to. The speaker can use must, or when we want to do something which is a rule, we use must also. So that's everything about them. I think it's very clear, very easy. I don't know why they get confused sometimes, and we hope that their teachers can clarify the situation easily for them. Okay, let's go on.
Yeah, we have should. We use should for advice or for recommendation. For example, you should apologize to the boss for being late. Here, someone is giving a piece of advice to another person to apologize to his boss for being late. It means it is a good idea and a good thing to do so, and it is considered a socially appropriate action in the work environment. The second one, you should get a good map of London before you go there. Here it's a recommendation. It means that it would be helpful for the person to have a map in order not to get lost.
So it's they are very similar,
Yeah.
both of them, advice and recommendation. Yes, but this is the main use of should. Thank you very much. Of course, we have shouldn't. When we talk about shouldn't, mustn't, don't have to, doesn't have to, we are talking about lack of obligation. Miss Majid, please.
And when we want to talk about the lack of obligation, we'll start with mustn't. Why do we use mustn't? Mustn't is not the same as don't have to, because mustn't means prohibition. Examples: you mustn't wait here. You are not allowed to wait here. It is a negative obligation.
Yes.
This is for mustn't.
Yeah, we have don't or doesn't have to. Don't or doesn't have to means absence of necessity. There is no need to do this. We have an example here. You don't have to wait here. It is not. It means it is not necessary for you to wait here, but you can if you want to. So it's not obligatory. There is no obligation. Waiting is optional for you.
Good.
Now we'll talk about shouldn't. We use shouldn't to advise not to do something, usually because it is bad or wrong. Example: you shouldn't smoke. It's obvious that smoking is something bad and wrong, and I am now advising the one who is in front of me, and I'm telling him you shouldn't smoke. And we have exercises, and let's start with them.
Yeah.
Voila.
We have to choose a correct answer here. The first one, in Britain you drive on the left. We have 4 choices: must, have to, should, and don't have to. The correct answer is have to, because it expresses obligation. It indicates that driving on the left in Britain is mandatory legal requirement there. The second one, he has a backache.
Here we can't use must.
No, because it's
Why? Because the speaker here is a person, an ordinary
he
person.
is forced to do so.
And
It's not
he is
his
trying
choice.
to. It's not the
Not his
government
decision,
who's
yeah.
talking now, or the police officer. Or,
Yeah.
Okay, in Britain, you have to drive on the left. There is a rule, or there are some instructions
must
written,
follow it.
and you have to follow this rule.
Yeah.
This is an example. Good.
The
Next
second
one.
sentence, he has a backache. He carry heavy things. We have doesn't have to, shouldn't, should, and has to. The correct answer is shouldn't. It expresses a piece of advice. It suggests that carrying heavy things make your backache more worse.
Yes.
The third one, I'm very hungry. I must, have to, mustn't, or don't have to eat something. Here the correct answer is
Must.
I must, yeah, because it expresses necessity. It indicates that eating something is crucial for me. Number 4, you use your mobile phone in a gas station. We have must, mustn't, shouldn't, and don't have to. The correct answer is mustn't. It expresses prohibition here. It forbids using a mobile phone in a gas station because it may cause explosions or fire there. The last one, if he has a credit card, he pay for something in cash, he can use the card. We have must, has to, should, or doesn't have to. The correct answer here is doesn't have to. It expresses lack of obligation, and it shows that paying cash isn't obligatory, and there is an alternative option that you can use, which is the card, the credit card.
Good, good, thank you. Now, in Unit 11, Ms. Majid,
We'll move to the
we have
reported
the
speech.
reported speech, I think. Yes, please.
Now, we have to define the reported speech before starting with the details. The indirect speech, also called reported speech, it is to report of what somebody has said without using exactly the same words that they have used. Example, I like ice cream. She said she liked ice cream.
I like the first example here, the photo. Let's, as you can see, dear students, some people are talking together, blah, blah, blah. They are telling something. And someone, one of them, said to his friends or to the others, she told me that blah, 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 etc.
Maybe
so
blah, blah
this
is
is the
going to be
reported
changed.
speech. So we
Blah,
don't
blue,
know
bee.
the blah, 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 of course. Okay. Now you can use the examples, okay? The definition, first of all, again, Ms. Majid.
We define the
Yes,
indirect
speech.
or the reported speech is a report of what somebody has said without
Yes.
using the exact words that I had said. I like ice cream, example. She
Nice.
said she liked ice cream. So we have changed something from the sentence, the direct one.
You like ice cream?
We have changed
Me
a lot
too.
of something.
Okay. She said she liked ice cream. Good. Yes, please.
Yeah, when transforming statements into reported speech, it's essential to check and to change the following elements. The first one, pronouns. For example, if we have I in the original statement, it becomes he or she in the reported speech. Place and time expressions, for example, tomorrow becomes the next day or the following day. Here can become there. But here we have to notice that if the person who's reporting the information isn't in the same time or place as the original speaker. And the last one, we have tenses. We call this change back shifts. For example, present tense shifts to past tense and past tense shifts to past
Of course, we'll
perfect.
discuss this in
later.
details. Okay.
And we want to talk about the pronouns and how the pronouns change from the direct sentence into the indirect or the reported speech.
If the speaker is I, of course, he will
It
use
will
I.
first person.
And we want to report his speech.
So
We
it's
have to
going
say
to be changed to he or she or you.
you.
And if the speaker we change it into you and they. Singular you, it becomes I, he or she, according to the singular one. Me, change into him, her, you. Us, it becomes in the indirect speech you or them. My, it becomes in the indirect speech your, his or her. Our, changed into their.
Of course, let me tell you something and tell our dear students something, that there is no need to learn them by heart. Of course, when you, let's say, think logically, when you think logically and you want to report a sentence, you will change, normally you will change everything. You will
Spontaneously.
change the
It's going to be
pronoun, you
changed
will change the tense, etc. Why? Because you're thinking logically. But there is no need, I think, to learn by heart all these pronouns, because they will get confused again. They have to imagine the situation. When they imagine the situation, they will be able to write the sentence correctly. Yes, please.
Yeah, we have
What
other-
else? Time and place references.
We have other changes, time and place references. For example, in direct speech, if we have these, it becomes those. Here becomes there. Now becomes then. today becomes the next that day, tomorrow the next day or the following day, yesterday becomes the previous day or the day before.
Good.
Now, after finishing talking about the pronouns and the time and the places, expressions, how do we change them in the indirect or the reported speech? Now we'll move to the grammar.
Good.
Because we change the direct sentence from one tense to another when we report it. And I'm going to start with the first type. If we have a sentence in the present simple, we have to change the tense from the present simple tense to the past simple tense. The example, Mark, I usually wake up.
So the speaker is Mark here.
Yes, Mark. I usually wake up at 7 a.m. This is the direct sentence. Now we have to report it. When we report,
What did Mark say?
yes, Mark said that he usually woke up at 7 a.m. Now we change the verb wake up.
Now
to
you are
woke
the
up.
speaker, Miss Majid, not Mark.
Mark.
Yes.
When I asked you, what did he say? What did Mark say?
I'm reporting what did
Exactly.
he say?
What Mark said.
What he said.
Good.
Yes. So we change the verb from the first form, wake up, the zero form, into woke up to the past simple tense. This is
Good.
the
Thank
first
you.
one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, the second one, if we have a present simple, for example, Mark, I am playing piano.
Present continuous.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, present continuous, yeah.
Mm.
When we report it, we must start with Mark said that. We must change the first personal pronoun into the third personal pronoun. Mark said that he. I am playing, it is in the present continuous, it becomes past continuous. He was playing piano.
Thank you.
The third type, we have the present perfect in the direct sentence. The example, I have eaten a lot. Now, when we want to report the sentence, Mark said that he, instead of the pronoun I, had eaten instead of have eaten, because he would change the tense from the present perfect tense to the past perfect tense. So the rule is to change the tense from the present to the past perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
After that, we have past simple here. I went to the supermarket. It is in the past simple. We have verb to went. When we report what Mark said, we say Mark said that he had gone to the supermarket. So we change the past simple into the past perfect also.
Good.
We'll move to the future. When we have a sentence using will, example, I will buy milk. We change it in the reported speech as the following. Mark said that he would go to buy milk. So we change will into would.
Okay.
Yeah, we finished talking about statements. Let's talk about how to report the questions.
Good.
So let's start with WH questions. In reported WH questions, we use the WH word, the subject, then the verb. For example, what are you doing? Tom asked. When we want to report it, we must start with Tom asked. Tom asked me here. Then we have to put the WH word, what. After that, we have to put the subject before the verb. What I was doing. And the full stop instead of the question mark. So don't forget, reported questions are like statements. So we don't need the question mark. Also, we have to remove the inverted commas again.
For the yes-no questions, in reported yes-no questions, we use if or whether plus the subject plus the verb. There is a small difference between these questions and the weh questions. Example, will you be here? Tom asked. Now, in the reported, Tom asked me, it's optional. If, we start with if, because it is a yes-no question, if I would be there. And we apply all the rules regarding the grammar, will change into would. So here, Tom asked me if I would be there. Instead of a question word, we now use if or whether. This is the difference between them, between the yes-no questions and the weh questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Reporting questions with do, with the auxiliary verb do. Let's see what happens if the question has the auxiliary verb do in the present. Here we have an example. Where do they come from? Tom asked. We have to start with Tom asked me. We have to put the WH word, where, then the subject, they. After that, we have to omit the auxiliary and put the verb into the past simple. Where they came from. Reported questions are like positive statements, so we don't need the auxiliary verb do. In this case, do is present, so we change the main verb come into the past simple.
Also, we are going to talk about reported questions with did. Let's see what happens if the question has the auxiliary verb do in the past. Did in the past. Sorry. Did you see Jane? Tom asked me if I had seen Jane. Again, we do not need the auxiliary verb did here. In this case, did is past, so we change the main verb see into the past perfect. Had plus the past participle.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, we have word order in reported questions. For example, we have how fast can you run? It is a direct question. Tom asked. Tom asked me how fast I could run. Here Tom is the speaker. Asked me, asked is the reporting verb. How fast is the question word in WH question, and also we have if in this position or whether if we have yes no question. After that we must put the subject then the verb in the past. So it is like a statement.
Yes. Thank you.
After all, we have to do some exercises. Now we have to choose the correct answer. My brother got married a year ago. She said that her brother married a year before. Gets, has got, had been getting. Correct answer here had got, because the direct one was in the past simple, so we changed it in the past perfect tense. Number 2, the train arrives on time. She said that the train on time. Arrived, has arrived, had arrived, was arriving. The correct answer arrived, because in the sentence the train arrives, it is a simple present tense. We change it in the past simple tense, arrived. A. Number 3, did Ellie ring you an hour ago? Janet wanted to know whether Ellie rings, Ellie rang, has Ellie rang, Ellie had rang her an hour a year before. The correct answer D, Ellie had rang. Number 4, why do you want the job? She asked him why the job. He wanted, did he want, has he wanted, he had wanted. The correct answer, he wanted A.
What about, thank you, Miss Majid, the last grammatical skills, Miss Wala, which is inversion.
Inversion.
In Unit 12.
Yeah, in Unit 12. First, let's define inversion. Why is inversion in English used? The purpose of inversion in English is to give more emphasis to what you are saying or writing. It makes the sentence sound surprising or unusual, and it makes the sentence more formal. In statements...
The laptop, please. Thank you. The laptop, please. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. In statements, we usually have the verb, then the subject. We have verb follows the subject, so the subject first. For example, Mary missed her lessons last week. We have Mary the subject, missed is the verb. Inversion just means putting the verb before the subject. We usually do it in question forms. For example, did Mary miss her lessons? Did is the verb, the auxiliary verb, and Mary is the subject.
Good.
Now we're going to talk about the use. Number 1, after neither nor or so. Example, I didn't study well. Neither nor did I. Here we have did before the subject. Number 2, in the phrases here comes or come plus the noun, or there goes or go plus the noun. Example, here comes the professor. Here he comes.
Here comes the professor. Here he comes.
Now,
So here, when we use a
a
noun,
noun, not a
there
pronoun.
must be
Inversion.
an inversion. When we use a pronoun, there is no
No.
inversion. Here he comes, not here comes he
So-
or comes she. Good.
The for number 3 in question tag, we have to start work early, don't we? So also in the question tag, we
In question
have
tags,
to
there
write
must
the
be an inversion, of course.
auxiliary before
Of
the
course,
verb.
of course. Yes, thank you.
Number 4, when we begin a sentence with a limited or negative adverbials, in this case, the auxiliary verb such as do, be, or have is placed before the subject to add emphasis to the adverb. For example, hardly does he come to work on time. Here we have the limited adverbial hardly. We have after it an auxiliary verb, then we have the subject. The last use in conditional sentences, especially when F is omitted. For example, were I in your position, I'd apologize. Here we start the sentence with the verb and F is omitted. It's a second conditional here.
Good, good.
We don't make inversion in these cases. Number 1, when we include a question in another question. Example, have you got any idea where my glasses are? So we have question number 1.
So the first question, have you got
Have you
any
got an
idea?
idea?
And the second question,
where
where my glasses? Where are my glasses?
Yeah.
Let's say we have two questions.
Yes, directly.
Where are my glasses? This is the second question. The first question, have you got an idea? So when we start our sentence with the first question, the second question, there is no inversion in the second question.
So the question that included in this sentence, where my glasses are. So
Good.
it's
Have you got any
here
idea?
we don't have inversion.
Yes, yes.
Number 2, when we include a question in another sentence.
Good.
I wonder what he was doing. The question was, what was he doing?
Yes.
But when
yes.
we include it in the sentence starting with I wonder, here we don't have to do the inversion or
nice.
to make the inversion here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Number 3, we don't make inversion when we use a question word to introduce a relative clause in phrases. For example, I'm looking for a secretary who can use the computer well. The last one, number 4, in indirect speech when we report questions. For example, here we have a direct question, yes, no question. Have you visited the castle before? When we report it, we have here the verb have, then we have the subject. But when we make it indirect, he asked me if, we have to put the subject I, then the verb. If I had visited the castle before. We can't say if had I visited the castle before.
Yes.
Now, after all, we have to choose the correct answer. These are exercises for number 1. Rarely anyone using radios nowadays. You see, will you see, you will see, you have seen. As you see, the correct answer here B, because here we have inversion after rarely. Number 2, have you any idea where I can meet Sammy? Can I meet Sammy? Do I meet Sammy? Have I met Sammy? The correct answer, where I can meet Sammy. Here we have a question included in another one. Number 3, my mother asks me if, had I visited my aunt? I had visited my aunt. I will visit my aunt. Will I visit? The correct answer in number 3B, if I had visited my aunt. Number 4, there, to hold a meeting. Goes he? Does he go? He goes, or went he? The correct answer for number 4, C, he goes. There he goes, because here we have a pronoun and we don't have to make the inversion.
Thank you. Now, dear students, dear colleagues, we can say that we have finished everything in grammar in the last 6 units. Now we can talk about pronunciation. Of course, again here we have 6 units and we have 6, let's say, pronunciation skills. Miss Wala, please. I think you're going to talk about unit 7.
Yeah, we have silent letters in unit 7. silent letters are letters in words that aren't pronounced. They can change the spelling or meaning of a word, but they don't affect the pronunciation. Examples of silent letters include, we have many examples here. For example, silent A in logically, silent B in climb, bum, come, thumb, crumb, or doubt. Silent.
Can we hear that?
Yeah, you can.
No, we can. Okay. Can we use the audio? Can't we? Okay. We can't, huh? Okay. Let's try, please. Yes. Okay. 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 Yes. It's okay. It's okay. Now we can read them, Miss Wala. We can read them. We can't use the audio. Let's go back again. You said silent letters are letters in words that are not pronounced. They can change the spelling or meaning of a word, but they don't affect pronunciation. Examples of silent letters include, as you said, let's read them.
Yeah.
Logically,
B in climb, bum, come, thumb, crumb, and doubt.
yes.
D in Wednesday. E when it is
Make,
in the final.
tissue,
Make,
cute.
tissue, cute, kite, hate, not, rate, bite.
So here the E is silent. It is very clear the letters in bold are silent letters. What about the L?
Yeah, the L like in calm, halfpenny, salmon, calm, yop, should, talk. H in words like exhaust, ghost, well, rhyme, honest, where, choir, and hour. I in business. K if we start a word with K and
Sorry,
after
let's stop here, please, because let's go back to the H here. Examples. Here I'm trying to tell our dear, let's say, colleagues, the teachers of English, that in the exam, of course, you can't ask students, let's say, to choose the word which has a silent letter and give them rhyme, for example, because here we have two silent letters. So try, please, to give them choices in which there is only one silent letter, not two silent letters. This is what I'm trying to say. Whale, for example, here in the word whale, here we have two silent letters, the H letter, the H, and the E letter. In the second example, it's the same, rhyme. We have two silent letters, so we cannot use it. You can use it if you, let's say, give them the four choices. All of them contain H sound, okay? And one of them, the H sound is silent, right? So here you're trying to focus on the H sound. But when you want to ask in general, the word which has a silent letter is, you cannot give them such an example in the exam, right? But here we're trying just to give examples, of course, to train the students to know what words contain silent letters, different letters. We're trying to give different examples. The I letter, business, and the K.
K, especially when we start a word with K and after it we have N sound. For example, knife, knee, not, knock, night, no, knowledge.
Yes.
We have W in words like sword, rest, wrong, answer, whole, and right.
Caesars, the letter C.
And T like in
castle.
We have UE like in
colleague.
GH especially in the middle, and it is after a vowel sound
again.
like
Yes.
a light. U in guitar, P in psychology or pneumonia, M, and when we start a word with M,
It's
and
the
after,
adjective from pneumonia,
Yeah.
mnemonic.
and after it we have N sound, we say mnemonic
Mhm.
without pronouncing M. And when it's in the end and followed by M, for example, ota, column, and the last one S in muscle.
Good, thank you.
Now we have an exercise to have to choose which word has a silent letter. Number 1, A, heart, B, hour, C, human, D, downhill. The correct answer B, hour. Number 2, wait, worm, reward, right. The silent letter in number 2, D, right, the W in the word right. Number 3, A, knee, B, key, C.
Again, as I said,
Yeah.
yes, the last example, right,
Right.
has two
Two
silent
silent letters.
letters. So I think
It is better to
there is
change
a
it.
mistake here that we should replace this word because right has two silent letters, not only one
Yes.
silent
The
letter.
final E also.
It's okay.
Number
Yes.
3, Annie, B, key, C, king, D, racket. The correct answer here, A, knee, and the silent letter K.
Yes.
Number 4, dinner, neck, column, mankind. The correct answer, column, and the silent letter here, the final N. Number 5, psychology, sheep, open, apology. The correct answer, A, psychology, and the silent letter in this word is the consonant P.
Yes. That's right. Now we move on to talk about question intonation. I think it is in Unit 8, right?
It's in
Question
Unit 10.
intonation.
Unit 10.
Unit 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, question intonation. Let's start by making differences between these two sentences. What's the difference in the way of the following two sentences sound? The first one, he's going tomorrow. The second one, is he going tomorrow? The melodies of the two sentences are different. If you notice, the first one, it has a falling intonation, and the second one, it has a rising intonation. The melody of sentence
He's going
A,
tomorrow.
yeah,
He's going
he's
tomorrow.
going tomorrow, so it's
Falling
falling
intonation.
because
Is
it's
he
a
going
statement.
tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a
Rising intonation.
The melody of sentence A, as you said, drops at the end, making it a statement. The melody of sentence B rises at the end, making it a question, and especially it's yes no question. In English, we call these sentence melodies intonations. And we have to focus here. All spoken languages have intonation.
Yes, of course. Not only English.
Yeah.
Yes.
Regarding the WH questions, we use falling intonation. The speaker is asked for the first time, when the speaker is asked for the first time, or when we are asking for information we don't know. What's the time? This is a falling intonation. Where do you live? So we raise our voice when we start with the word, but at the finally at the end of the end of the question, we drop the sound, and we have here a falling intonation in the examples.
Let me add something here, Miss Majid, Miss Wala. Frankly speaking, actually, when we began to author the book, and Wala, I think, remembers this, we discussed this situation, I mean, the skill of pronunciation, and we did our best to choose the best, let's say, skills for our students to help them, let's say, in their study, even at university when they finish the baccalaureate and they're in their everyday life after they finish the university. But let me tell you something, that intonation is very important in spoken languages, as you said, Wala, because it helps us to express the meaning, or to convey the meaning to the listener. When we don't use intonation, our speech won't be clear and the meaning cannot be conveyed
It's
easily
just as-
to the
as
listener.
if you are
Maybe the
giving-
listener gets confused or will get confused
Misunderstand.
if you don't use the right intonation in the correct situation.
As if
So-
you are giving the color to the painting that you have done. It's the color of
Exactly.
the
So
speaking.
here, in general, there is a rule here when we talk about WH questions. Let's go back to the laptop, please. As you can see, dear students, the rule says in WH questions we use following intonation. This is a rule. We don't, of course, bring the rule ourselves or put it ourselves. There is a rule in Oxford dictionaries, in British books, in all British references. All references say this. I, let's say, feel shocked sometimes when I listen to some English teachers and to their opinions, and they want to say that WH questions end with a rising intonation. Oh my God, I get confused and shocked at the same time. No, it is wrong. WH questions end with a falling intonation. Try to go to the right references if you don't know. So this is my advice. Let's continue, please.
Now we'll talk about the yes-no questions. Yes-no questions, we use the rising intonation. The speaker's voice rises on the last content word or phrase. If we are checking information we already know, our voice goes up at the end. Example, are you going to the party tonight? So we raise our voice when we say the word tonight at the last of our yes-no question. Have you got a pen? So here I'm stressing and louding my voice when I say the word pen. So this is what we mean by the rising intonation, when we rise our voice at the end of the yes-no question.
Good. Are you going to the party tonight? Have you got a pen? You see? So we have a rising intonation
intonation.
here.
It
We
comes
cannot use a
spontaneously.
falling intonation with yes no
try,
question.
it's correct.
Have you got a pen? We can't use.
like
We
our
can't say
sleeping.
this. Yes, we can't say this. Why is this? Because here the speaker is trying to find an answer. So this is why we use the rising
Rising
intonation here. He's trying to find an answer, to get an answer from the listener. What else?
Yeah, we have a question tags. We have two types. When we expect confirmation, we use falling intonation. Falling intonation on the question tag gives the impression that the statement is correct. If we are sure or almost sure that the listener will confirm that our statement is correct, we say the question tag with a falling intonation. For example, you're French, aren't you? He is very tall, isn't he?
Here, the speaker knows the answer.
Yeah. Just
90%
making sure.
he is sure, but he wants, let's say, to confirm or to make sure that what he knows is correct. So I know that you're French, okay, but I want to make sure. So you're French, aren't you? Not aren't you. If we use a rising intonation, the speaker doesn't know the answer. So when we use a falling intonation, the speaker knows the answer and he wants to confirm.
Check. Yeah.
That's right. What else?
And this is what you talked about now, about the question tags showing less certainty. Number 4, we use rising intonation here, as you have mentioned now. You are French, aren't you? Here I'm expecting an answer. I'm not sure if he is a French or not. Your train leaves at 6, doesn't it? So here I'm raising my voice when I say doesn't it. I'm having a rising intonation to get an answer because I'm not certain. I'm not sure about the answer.
Yes. So it's the same question.
It's the
You
same.
see, when we say, you're French, aren't you? I know the answer
When
and
I
I want
lower
to
my
check,
voice,
I want to confirm. When I raise, so it means that I don't know the answer. You're French, aren't you? That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. The
Your
last
train
one.
leaves at 6, doesn't it? You see, I don't know, okay? But when you say, doesn't it? Falling
means I know.
intonation, I know that the train leaves at 6. Okay. I think, dear students, it's very clear. The
last
example is very clear. Now, we can go on.
Yeah, the last one, in questions that offer choices. The speaker's voice rises on the first choice or choices and falls on the last one. For example, do you prefer reading poetry or prose?
Poetry or prose?
Yeah.
So here,
poetry, it's
rising,
it has rising
rose,
intonation, and prose
falling intonation. When we have a choice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another example, would you rather be a doctor, psychologist, or an engineer?
So here, there must be an intonation here.
Yeah.
Would you rather be a doctor, psychologist, or an engineer?
Yeah.
You see, so there
Music.
is music,
Music.
here when
Yeah.
when we speak the language. Good. Rising, falling. Good. Now we have an example.
Yes. Which question has a rising intonation at the end? A. Would you like to stay here or to go out? Where do you want to stay? How did you feel? Have you stayed there for a long time? So the correct answer here, D, because it is, first of all, it is a yes/no question. So it ends with a rising intonation. But the first three choices, we have a falling intonation.
So here, let me repeat them, please. Would you like to stay here or to go out? Where do you want to stay? See? How did you feel? Have you stayed there for a long time? Because, as you said, Miss Majid, it's a yes/no question. It must end
With a rising
with
voice.
a rising intonation.
For number
Another
2,
one.
which question has a falling intonation now? Do you prefer to study nursing or education? Have you talked to a professor? Was the article published? Would you rather have tea? So here the three choices B, C, and T, we raise our voice at the end of the sentence. But in
So the
example
first one,
number 1, do you prefer
because we have a choice,
do you
nursing or
prefer
education,
to study nursing or education? We lower our voice in
it
education.
ends with a falling intonation.
This is a falling
That's
intonation.
right, that's right. Now, the last skill, everyday English. Miss Wala, please.
Yeah, we have exercises from the 6 units. Let's start with the first one. Hello, this is Peter Martin. Can I have extension 3421? I haven't made my mind yet. I'm really proud of you. You are exaggerating. Certainly. Hold on a minute and I'll put you through. The correct answer here is D. Number 2. My friend's hit his head on something sharp. He's bleeding. Give me a moment and I'll be there. We have he deserves it. Could you rush us to a nearby hospital? It's not an excuse. I haven't made my mind yet. The correct answer here is B. Could you rush us to a nearby hospital? Here asking for help.
Yes.
Number 3. We're looking for someone to lead the project. Would you like to take on that role? I'd go for education if I were you. You are exaggerating. Yes, I'd love to be a part of it. I'm sorry about what happened. The correct answer is C. Yes, I'd love to be a part of it, since it is is someone who is accepting the offer.
Yes. Thank you.
Number 4. I'm thinking about quitting my job to travel the world. A. It's not an excuse. B. I haven't made my mind yet. C. How amazing. D. I'd go for black if I were you. The correct answer here, how amazing. C. Number 5.
Here the listener is trying to express surprise. Yes.
Do you fancy going out for a picnic with us? I was planning to visit Grandpa. B. You should practice more. C. You are exaggerating. D. Hold on a minute, I will get you through. The correct answer here, I was planning to visit Grandpa.
Yes.
6. Your friend wants to hire your car. You mind? You mind? A. I'll take word for it. B. That isn't an excuse. C. You're kidding. That's absolutely amazing. D. I'm afraid that's not possible. And the correct answer here, I'm afraid that's not possible. D.
Yes. Now, we move on to talk about the last skill, I think, which is making questions. Yes, please.
Yeah, first to make questions, we need to replace the underlined part of the sentence with a WH word. We usually need to invert word order as well. English questions follow a clear structure. There are 4 elements. We have question word, auxiliary, subject, and the main verb. We have an exercise. I visited my grandfather yesterday. Here the underlined information is my grandfather. We're asking about a person, so we put the WH word who, then the auxiliary verb, it is in the past, we used it. After that, you, and the zero form of the verb visit, and the complement, yesterday.
Good.
Now number 2, you went to Layla's party. And here Layla is the underlined word, Layla's. So in Layla's, you know that here we have an apostrophe, it's a possessive. So we have to choose the question word whose. Whose party did you go to? This is the correct answer. And we take into consideration to put the verb in the correct form.
Yeah, number 3, I studied French last night. Here the underlined information is French. We're asking about a subject. We use what, the auxiliary verb did, the subject you, study in the base form, and the complement last night.
For number 4, I live in the countryside. And here we underline the words or this, in the
In the countryside.
prepositional phrase, in the countryside, and it is a place. So it's clear that we have to choose where as a question word. And then, do you live, as we have to form the verb.
Number 5, I go to work at 7 o'clock. The underlined information is a time, so we put when or what time. What time, the auxiliary, it's in the present simple, we use do. What time do you go, in the base form, to work, the complement.
Number 6, we go to school by bus. And when we want to ask about by bus, we have to choose the question word how. How do you go to school?
Number 7, she called us to ask about her brother. Here we're asking about a reason. We use why. Why did she call you?
Number 8, I have 2 sisters. And here we underline only the word 2. It's a number. And when we ask about numbers, we have to choose the word how many, the question word how many. So the answer will be, or the question to this sentence will be, how many sisters do you have or have you got? Both are acceptable.
Number 9, I study Arabic twice a week. Here we have frequency. We use how often. How often do you study Arabic? It's in the present simple.
Number 10, Selwa has been sleeping for 3 hours or since 8 o'clock. And we have here underlined for 3 hours or since 8 o'clock. And in this case, it's clear that we have to choose how long. How long has Selwa been sleeping? The correct answer here.
11, this mobile costs 1 million Syrian pounds. We're asking about the price. We use how much. How much does this mobile cost?
Number 12, I like classical music. And here we underline the word classical. It is an adjective that describes music. How can we ask about it? We can use what and we can use which. What or which music do you like? What kind of music do you like? We have many choices to make questions for this sentence.
Number 13, it was rainy yesterday. We're asking about the weather. We have 2 forms. We can ask what was the weather like yesterday, and we can ask also how was the weather yesterday.
Number 14, Ali is a friendly person. And here we underline a friendly person, a noun phrase. So what is the correct question word that we have to use? What is Ali like?
Yes. Now, dear students, that's everything for making questions, I think. We've tried to give examples as we can in different situations by using different question words to train the students how to, let's say, make a question. Now we reach the last point, which is, I think, the most important one, the writing skill. Again, I think so far we have, let's say, a good experience. We have had a good experience because after 2 years from now, after 2 years, we have found that many students, a lot of students can write easily and can express, let's say, their ideas, feelings, emotions, themselves.
Express themselves.
Yes, they can express themselves easily, and many of them were able to write a paragraph. So it's not difficult at all. I think the most difficult step is to start writing, not to say I can't write. So this is the first step. The first step is very important for you. When you want to write a paragraph, dear students, there are some instructions, some pieces of advice that may help you to know how to write a paragraph. Miss Wala, please,
Yeah.
what about these, let's say,
Steps.
some pieces of advice or some recommendations, let's say?
Yeah. First, they have to start with a topic sentence which addresses what the main idea is going to be about.
Yes.
After that, once they have written their topic sentence, they must start to fill in the rest of their
So let's try to
writing.
stop after each one.
Yeah.
One word.
Okay? So we have 3 minutes. Okay. Write a topic sentence. So the topic sentence, or it is called the key
main
sentence.
idea.
The key sentence is very important. Dear students, when you want to write about something, from the very beginning, from your first sentence, just try to give, let's say, the reader an idea about what you are going to write about. So your first sentence is very important in your paragraph. It is called the topic sentence or the key sentence. It is considered as an introduction, right? What about number 2, Miss Majid?
Once you have written your topic sentence, you can start to fill in the rest of your writing about each element. We have elements, you have to write them in our paragraph, and make sure your paragraph is coherent, which means that it's easy to read and understand.
Coherent here means that the structures or the statements are connected
Linked.
correctly
Linked
and
together.
logically.
Logically.
And logically.
The information moves
Yes,
fluently. And
yes. So
slow.
try to use the connecting words correctly. Try to be logical, step after step, when you want to present your or introduce your ideas
And
or
here
your
when we
elements.
talk about the elements,
Yes,
we have to
yes,
know that under the main idea we have sub-ideas.
Exactly.
And we have to talk about each
Sometimes
one.
you want to support something, so you give an
give
example
more
or you give your
details.
opinion.
More
Facts.
details,
Yes.
more sentences.
Yes,
Even
not
though
only
they are
one
short.
sentence. What about number 3?
Number 3, link each sentence
As
with,
we said,
with
the connecting
transition
words.
which form a bridge between one
Yes,
sentence
the
and
connecting
the other.
words.
Yeah.
Number 4,
Write a concluding sentence which reinforces the idea in the topic sentence. It might be an opinion or advice.
good.
So
And
it's
the last
conclusion.
one, exactly.
Review your paragraph to check for grammar, spelling, punctuation, coherence, and style.
So that's everything, dear students. When you want, finally, when you finish your paragraph, try to check everything, your grammar, mistakes, spelling, punctuation marks, capitalization, and then you write the final copy on the exam paper. Don't try to write immediately or directly on the exam paper.
You
Try
must
to,
write a draft first.
yes, try to write a draft, then check that draft, make sure that everything is okay, then you write the final copy in its place in the exam paper. Dear students, that's everything for today. Before we say goodbye, let me, dear students, dear colleagues, in your name, of course, dear colleagues, extend my congratulations to Ms. Majid Rifai on her appointment as the Assistant Director of Connector Directorate
Thank
for Secondary Education. We wish you, dear Majid, all the best in your new mission, and
Thank
we're
you
sure
very
that you will
Congrats.
succeed in it. And be sure that we will miss you
Me
as
too.
our dear colleague in the English team, and of course you will be with us
All the time.
You
All
won't
the time.
leave, right?
Sure.
So dear students, let me thank Miss Wala Safir again, an English supervisor from Damascus Countryside Directorate, for her participation. And before I leave, this is Basil Sadiq speaking from the Syrian Educational Channel, a senior supervisor at the Ministry of Education. Dear students, we wish you all the best and goodbye.
luck.
Thank you.